Hello everyone. A warm welcome to all of you for attending the webinar on entrepreneurship and introduction organized by Digi Saksham. I'm Rajesh and I'll be glad to host this meeting today. Digi Saksham is an initiative of SEMS Welfare Foundation and has developed content for over 300 courses in multiple languages, which range from 4 hours to 6 months in various sectors of IT, BSFI, retail, and entrepreneurship for all age groups, for school children, youth, professionals, to senior citizens, with over 6,000 training till date. Talking about the topic, entrepreneurship is a creation or extraction of value. Entrepreneurship is viewed as a change, generally entailing risk beyond what is normally encountered in starting a business. Today we have Dr. Meenal Jain, Assistant Professor at Department of Resource Management and Design Application at Lady Ewan College, University of Delhi. Her area of specialization is environmental development and sustainable development. She is a gold medalist in PhD from University of Delhi. Her doctoral research focused on assessment of government initiatives in off-grid solar applications for commercial establishments in selected states of India. Entrepreneurship being one of her fortes, she has been involved in getting Lady Irwin College initiated under PM Yuva scheme of Ministry of Skill and Entrepreneurship Development, Government of India. She serves as an expert at SR Asia, international organization working in the area of social responsibility.
Thank you, Rajesh. Thank you for such a nice introduction. I hope all of you are able to see my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, as Rajesh said that we are going to discuss about entrepreneurship today. So, entrepreneurship is something which is very close to my heart because I feel that instead of looking for a job, we should be creating jobs, right? And that is what an entrepreneur does. He or she creates jobs, and they in a way contribute to betterment of any country that they live in. So today I'm going to brief you about some of the nuances of entrepreneurship, and I'll introduce you to some of the concepts related to entrepreneurship. So first of all, what is entrepreneurship?
I feel like entrepreneurship is being a job provider than being a job seeker.
Absolutely. Rajesh very rightly said entrepreneur is someone who is a job provider and not a job seeker. Very good. Anyone else? All right. Okay, so entrepreneurship is basically, the capacity and willingness of anyone to develop and organize a business venture, right? Now, two of the very, very important characteristics of any entrepreneur is that he or she is able to take risks, calculated risks, and they are able to innovate. So, innovation and calculated risk taking ability are two of the very, very important characteristics of an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship is very essential part of a nation's ability to succeed in the global marketplace. Now, if we look at the importance of entrepreneurship in India, according to Ernst and Young, they conducted a study in the year 2017, and they said that India falls in the fourth quartile among the G20 countries when we talk of the entrepreneurial activities, right? So, there's a huge scope to boost the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. And another survey shows that only about 37% of Indians believe that there are conducive environment for innovation, right? So they need to be exploring more. They need to explore their environment more to be able to innovate. And given the employment crisis in the country at the current position, the ability of entrepreneurs is very important because they are creating jobs which are particularly relevant to India's condition right now. We have a lot of unemployment, and to cater to that to that problem, the solution that we seek is entrepreneurship. At the same time, So McKinsey had conducted a study which shows that between the year 2012 and 2022, the India's working age population will grow by 69 million. That's a huge number. You know, approximately 63% of the population is consisted by those 69 millions. And that means creation of additional 69 million jobs, right? So India has to create those additional jobs which are appropriate to the working age population, and jobs for those who are currently unemployed. So this is an add-on to what we are looking at right now. Therefore, it is very important that we develop a sustaining and vibrant entrepreneurial fabric. So that is one of the good policy options that we have right now. So, India also has a latent talent pool which we need to explore. There's a huge scope in the field of social inclusion. And when we talk of bringing the economically, disenfranchised and women into the economic mainstream, I think entrepreneurship is the way out. And that is why we say that entrepreneurship is very, very important for a country like India, especially in the current scenario. And looking at the importance of entrepreneurship for India, Indian government has also come up with a lot of initiatives. Like you will see Make in India, we see Atmanirbhar Bharat. There is this Atal mission, Niti mission. So all these are looking at boosting the entrepreneurship fabric in India. Now, coming on to what are the potential sectors where we can look at entrepreneurship growth in a country like India. So I would say every sector has the scope to potentially being exploited for entrepreneurship opportunities, be it the manufacturing sector, including auto components, electronics, chemicals, metals. Then we have healthcare and related elite services, which includes hospitals, medical tourism, medical equipment. Then we have personal care services, gyms, spas, restaurants, resorts, all these things. Also in the education sector, right? We need content developers, we need vocational trainers, we need capacity builders, right? We need people who can test the material that is being developed. So potential for entrepreneurship is immense. In every sector that you see around yourself, there is a potential for entrepreneurship growth. Now there are two terms which go hand in hand when we talk of entrepreneurship. They are creativity and innovation. Now I want you to just take a guess. What is the meaning of creativity?
I'm creating something unique.
Okay, yes, creating something unique. Very good, Dipanshi. Anyone else?
Hello, ma'am.
Hi, hello.
Yeah. Doing something that is special.
Absolutely, doing something that is special.
Hello,
Very
ma'am.
good.
Hello,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Hi,
Creativity
hi.
is someone's imagination of original imagination. Is just it is the
Excellent.
use of your imagination. Yes.
Absolutely. So when you think wildly, it is your imagination. That is called creativity. I think we have got some really good answers. So creativity is nothing but, the capability or act of conceiving something original or unusual, which has not been thought of before, which has not, been in use before. So you conceive something original, something of your own. That is creativity. Now, another question arises, then what is innovation? Are they different? Are creativity and innovation different, or are they same? Yeah. So, who feels that creativity and innovation are same? They are synonymous.
Ma'am, creativity is kind of an imaginative thing, and innovative is like introducing something new. Like creativity is in imagination, and innovativity is like a practical implementation of that.
Okay, someone where? Yes. Anyone else?
Creativity is the ability to develop new ideas and discover new ways, while
Okay.
innovation is the ability to apply creative solutions to those problems and opportunities. So therefore, creativity and innovation is interconnected to each other. Thank you.
Very nice, very nicely put. I think Samanvay also very nicely put it all together. Innovation is nothing but the process of translating the idea into a good or service which is of value to the customers. So creativity is, thinking of something new, something unique, something original, which is of your own. And innovation is putting it into something tangible, something which you're providing as a solution. So I'll give you a very, very common example. Suppose I'm a scientist, okay, and I discover a new chemical in my lab which can cure an incurable disease. So is that creativity or innovation?
Innovation.
Innovation.
Okay, and
Innovation.
why not creativity? Why not creativity?
Because it is the practical implementation and introduction of something new that has not been discovered yet.
Okay, so guys, there is a very thin line between creativity and innovation. Now, when I find a new drug in my lab, when I find this new chemical in my lab, that's creativity. That is, I am being creative. I'm trying to find a solution. But when I launch that drug as a medicine in the market, when it creates value to the people, to the customers, then it becomes innovation. Have I made myself clear? Creativity is anything that you come up with,
Okay.
but when you actually put it to use, when it can actually be used by the beneficiaries, by the people who need it, that is when it becomes an innovation. All right, so let's just briefly summarize what is creativity and innovation. So creativity is your imagination coming up with ideas, new concepts, problem solving expressions, ideation, brainstorming, etc., etc. And innovation is the process of putting that creativity into action. Okay, so when you create value, when you implement your ideas, when you're enabling uh, your thought process to bring about a change in the society, when you produce a tangible product which is useful and something new, that is called innovation. Okay, so now coming on to what are the traits of an entrepreneur. Now, traits of an entrepreneur, when we talk of traits mean the characteristics of an entrepreneur, right? What are the things that make a person an entrepreneur? How is he different from a normal person? What are the characteristics or traits which are required in a person to be an entrepreneur? So let us try to find one trait each for each of the letters which form the word entrepreneur. Okay, so entrepreneur की spelling क्या होती है? It's ENTREPRENEUR. Let us try to find one trait each for all these letters. So if we look at E, entrepreneur is someone who is energetic, right? He's full of energy. He is willing to take on the world. He is willing to create something new. And entrepreneur is someone who is noble in his approaches. Yes, he thinks of ideas which are out of the box, which are new, which have not been thought of before, right? uh, anyone
Team
anyone
building.
wants to
Team building.
yes, absolutely, very good. Someone who is capable of building a team, right? Team building exercise is very very important for an entrepreneur, because it's not a one man's job to create and sustain an enterprise. It's definitely a team job. So entrepreneur is someone who is able to build a team. Very nice. So R anyone?
Risk tolerance.
Absolutely, someone who is able to take risk taking ability, right? Risk taking ability is a very important ability of an entrepreneur, because unless you take risk, you'll not be able to succeed. We'll be discussing more about risk taking in my later slides. Okay, then again, E, anyone?
Emphatic.
Empathetic, right? Empathetic means someone who is able to put himself in the shoes of others, right? And unless I do that, unless an entrepreneur does that, he will not be able to understand what the problem is there and how can I find a solution for that problem? So empathetic, very good. Okay, then we come on to P.
Passionate.
Persistence or planners.
Passionate.
Persistent, yes. Passionate, yes, very good. So we have
Planners.
got two traits here.
Di ba laki?
Someone, sorry,
Planners.
Passionate.
planner, yes. So we have got three traits: persistent, planner, passionate. Persistence is someone who does not give up, right? If one idea fails, I will look for some other idea. If that idea fails, I'll keep on trying. That is someone who is persistent. Passionate is someone who is, all into his idea, very positive about what he's doing. And what was the third one? Planner. He is a planner, right? He takes actions only after careful planning, and he does not, act at the spur of the moment. Very good. Then we again come up with R.
Right direction and view.
Okay, he has a very right direction. He looks in the right direction. He has a positive approach. Also, R, say we can say that someone who is rational, who thinks of things rationally and not irrationally. So someone who is rational. Okay, then again an E. There are a lot of E's in this. Yes. Can you think of anything else that stands with E? Okay, so I'll give you one. Earnest. An entrepreneur is someone who is earnest, sincere towards his job, right? Then again N. Any other trait that you can think of? Okay, so he is not narrow-minded. He has a very open mind. He thinks of ideas as and when they come. He take them with open arms, right? He is open to exploring opportunities. So he does not work with a closed mind. He is someone who is open-minded. Then one more E.
Easygoing.
Okay,
Envisioning.
easygoing in what sense? Sorry,
Efficient.
Like in taking decisions or
efficient.
in taking matters of the organization.
Absolutely. So he's easygoing, he's efficient, also he's
Envision.
enterprising. Envisioning, very nice. Someone who can envision what is going to happen in future. Very nice. You. Next is you.
Unique.
Understanding.
Unique.
Unity.
Okay, unique in his ideas. Yes. Very good.
Understand.
So he's unique in his ideas. Understanding. Yes, he's understanding.
Up to date.
Sorry.
Updated.
Up to date, yes, absolutely. He has to be updated with the latest happenings in the area he's trying to explore. Also, he's uplifting. He tries to uplift the morale of the team that he's working with. And the last letter is R. Any other trait that we have
Resourceful.
left?
Resourceful.
Sorry, resourceful.
Uh,
Okay, resourceful.
Risk taker.
Risk taker, very nice. I think this is what we had started with. He's a calculated risk taker.
Resilient.
And also, sorry,
Resilient.
resilient, very nice. Resilient is someone who is able to bounce back. So if you are failing in your ideas, then you come back to your original state and start afresh. So that is something who is resilient. So I'm very happy, we have really come up with some excellent traits of an entrepreneur, and all these traits define an entrepreneur. Now I briefly want to discuss with you the Vadhwani 5M model. Now this particular model deals with the types of entrepreneurs. Now, Vadhwani is a foundation. It's called the Vadhwani Foundation, and they have done a lot of work in the area of entrepreneurship. And they have come up with this 5M model, wherein they have, they say that there are 5 kinds of entrepreneurs. So there is a maker, there is magician, there is merchant, there is a mobilizer, and then there is a master. And the characteristics of these entrepreneurs differ based on whether they are left-brained or they are right-brained. I'll briefly come on to what is left-brained and what is right-brained. But let me just tell you that people who are action-oriented are generally the makers and magicians, And people who, entrepreneurs who are more people oriented, they are generally the mobilizers and masters. So people oriented entrepreneurs focus more on people and relationships, whereas those entrepreneurs who are more action oriented, they are focused on the tasks and how to get things done. So they are, more, they emphasize more on, how to get a task done. They are not concerned as much about the feelings and emotions and relationships with people as those who are people oriented. And when we talk of left brain people, girls, everyone, so left brained are those who are analytical. Okay, they think things through, right? Uh, right brain, on the other hand, are intuitive. They work on their intuition. Then left brain are logical. They work on logic. They have some logic in mind when they act. On the other hand, right brain entrepreneurs are imaginative. They work on imagination, right? Then linear. What is linear? Linear basically means that, so left brain people are said to be linear. That means if they are in a particular position, they'll take something from that. And if they encounter a similar condition or a similar situation in the future, they'll apply their lessons in that situation. So they are able to apply their mind in a similar situation. Whereas right brain people are called to be non-linear. Then left brain people are planners. They plan things and then act on them. Whereas right brain people are more spontaneous, right? They do not believe in doing a pre planning. Another characteristic of left brain people is that they are rational. They have a reason for doing something. Whereas right brain people are more emotional in nature. They give more value to emotions than reasons. And left brain people are detail oriented. They will go into the nitty gritties of anything that they are doing. And right brain people, on the other hand, they look at the bigger picture. Now, based on this, the 5M model that I just told you, there are 5 types of entrepreneurs, and I just briefly am going to discuss each of the types of these entrepreneurs in a little detail. So, the first type of entrepreneur is a maker. Now, as the name suggests, maker is someone who brings ideas to life, right? They have some tangible plans on which they work, and they try to convert their ideas uh, into they like to bring those ideas into practice. And they they see both the big picture as well as the smallest details of the problems that they are trying to solve, right? They are great at getting things done, and they prefer processes over people. They are more rational, action oriented than people oriented. So maker is someone who makes. And a very good example of this is Henry Ford, who is the founder of the Ford automobiles. Next, we come on to merchant. Now, merchant, if we talk of in general English language, is someone who is a businessman, right? Who believes in give and take. So, merchant is the type of entrepreneur who is often on the lookout for the next big thing. They very quickly scan the market opportunity, right? If there is some unmet need in the market, in their environment, they are very quick in identifying that opportunity and trying to solve that problems. They try to provide solutions to sort of meet that problem. Okay. And they are often also very good at improvising the existing ideas. So they innovatively apply concepts from existing ideas. So if there is an idea which is already existing, they can tweak that idea and make it theirs, to solve the current problem. And a very good example of this is Richard Branson, who was the founder of Virgin Group. Now, the third M stands for magician. Magician is someone who does magic, right? So, magician is that kind of entrepreneur who dreams of what can be. They are very good at taking calculated risks, and they are always ahead of their competitors in the market, right? They are the ones who are creating the future. They always surprise their customers, right? And they are, often living in the world of ideas, in the world of grand visions, and they prioritize innovations. So this is where innovation comes from most often, right? And Steve Jobs is one example of a magician who is the founder of Apple and Pixar. Another type of entrepreneur, the fourth M, is mobilizer. Now, as the word mobilizer suggests, they are those type of entrepreneurs who, are more people oriented. They are the connecting thread between the ideas and the people. They are very good at building relationships. They have very high energy teams, and they're often involved at the grassroots level, working at, solving the problems of the society at large. And they act as catalysts to bring about systemic change. And more often, the social entrepreneurs, they fall in the category of mobilizers. An example of this is Mr. Muhammad Yunus, who was the founder of Grameen Bank. The last type of entrepreneurs, the last M, is master. Now, master, कौन होता है master? Who is a master? Who are experts in their field, who have expertise in their areas. So masters are very highly skilled and very knowledgeable individuals. They have great passion in the field that they have chosen, and they have, very high standards for quality, right? And they are often looked up as role models in their industry. They influence others in their industry, and they expect the same from others. They have a very high quality standards, and they expect the same from their team. An example of this is Bill Gates, who is the founder of Microsoft's and Gates Foundation. So let's just quickly summarize the characteristics of each style of the entrepreneurs. We have maker, merchant, magician, mobilizer, and masters. Makers are goal oriented, master planner. They are more disciplined, process oriented, efficient problem solver. If we look at their weaknesses, they fear losing control. They are often very aggressive and very low emotional quotient. They do not have a very good connect with people. The second M, which is merchant, they are very good at spotting opportunities. They are rational, they are resourceful, but they fear losing money. They prioritize profit making. Okay, that's the typical characteristic of any businessman. They prioritize profit making, and this is also one of the characteristics of this particular type of an entrepreneur. Magician, their strengths are they are innovative. They have very, very good ideas. We can change the games. They take calculated risks. However, they may run out, they may fear running out of ideas, because ideas is something which they give very high value to. Then mobilizer, they connect their ideas to people. They show empathy. They are people oriented. However, they may lack expertise. They may lack depth in the area that they have chosen. And last but not the least, the masters, they are expert in their areas. They have very high skills, very good knowledge in the field that they have selected. However, they can be inflexible because they go by the book, right? And since they go by the book, they are short sighted. They can be sometimes inflexible and not open to ideas of others. So this is a quick overview of the 5 types of entrepreneurs. Now I want you to, and I want you to introduce you to the concept of design thinking, which is a very, very, very important concept when it comes to entrepreneurship. So it is made up of 2 terms, design and thinking. So when we are thinking, when we are trying to solve a problem, when we are generating ideas, when we are brainstorming, a very important component has to be design, how we design that idea. Now, first of all, let us try to understand what is design thinking. Now, according to Tim Brown, design thinking is a human centered approach to innovation. So when we are innovating, we follow this approach of design thinking. Now, it integrates the needs of people, technology, and the requirements for business success. So design thinking talks of three things. Number one, what is that people need? Secondly, what are the possibilities of meeting those needs through technology? And thirdly, how can I make it a business opportunity? Right? How can I solve that problem, and make a successful business out of it? So these are the three center points of design thinking. Why do entrepreneurs need design thinking? Definitely to see the world differently. They, have to make their ideas better. So design thinking, how does it help the entrepreneurs is by simplifying the thinking process. It helps them to ideate, and it helps them to address a problem and the customer's needs in a better way. Now, design thinking is actually a process, and this process consists of 5 steps, which is empathize, design, ideate, prototype, and test. So first step, let me just briefly, discuss these 5 steps. Empathize. Empathize is putting yourself in someone else's shoes, trying to seeing from someone else's eyes. What are they feeling? What are the problems that they are encountering? So when I try to do that, that is the first step of design thinking process. If I'm trying to solve a problem, I understand that problem from the user's perspective, right? So understanding who is my user, what matters to that person, that is called empathizing. After that, I move on to define. I define my problem. I create a point of view based on my observations. So what is that my users need? I define those problems. Then I ideate. Ideate means I bring up with ideas. I brainstorm. I come up with as many creative solutions as possible, right? And I think out of the box. I think of wild ideas. That is the ideation process. The next step is prototype, development of prototype. Prototype is basically a rough draft of your solution. So if you're coming up with a product as a solution, you make a rough draft of it, which can be tested. And lastly, I test that prototype. Okay, so whatever prototype I have developed, I share that idea with the customers for whom I have developed that prototype, and I take their feedback. So whether the product is good, whether it's not good, what are the possible areas where it can, be improved, all those things I seek feedback on. Now this is an example of a design thinking success story. So Airbnb, I'm sure all of you would have heard of that, which is, a company uh, which use design thinking to revolutionize the tourism, and they are now $1 billion business. Now, the basic business that they're involved in is online marketplace and hospitality service, and they enable people to lease out or rent short-term lodging for vacation or for apartment rentals, for homestays, or hotels or hostels. Now, this particular company was on the verge of bankruptcy, let me tell you. And they then went in for design thinking. They used design thinking to turn around their business. And now, today, they're a $1 billion company. So, what they tried to identify the problem. Okay. So, the problem was that their ads were not good. They were taken with smartphones. The pictures were taken with smartphones, and the rooms that they were offering, they were not displayed in the ads. So they were the problems that they were lacking in. So to solve these problems, they rented a camera, they spent some time with the customers, took their views, okay, and thought of solutions from the customer's point of view. All right. And at the same time, the pictures that were used in their ads, they enhanced those pictures. Okay, so this is how they turned around their business using the design thinking approach. So in a nutshell, what is design thinking really? It's a framework for innovation. So when you're innovating, when you're coming up with new ideas, you follow the design thinking process basically. Now, once you have innovated, it's very important that you take that idea to your potential customer. And that is called enterprise marketing, right? So you have to sell your idea. So sales is a very, very important component to become an effective entrepreneur. Okay, how to take that idea or the product that you have generated to your customers. First of all, you do customer profiling. Customer profiling is basically getting to know your customers. Who are your customers? Okay. Now, there are a lot of ways on the basis of which you can profile your customers. They can be profiled on based of demographic data, right? Like what is the age of my customers? What is the gender, marital status? Which income group do they belong to? What is their educational level? So on and so forth. Other way is by understanding the psychographic information about your customers. Psychographic talks of their lifestyle, their personality traits. So what are their opinions? What do they think about things? What are the things that motivate them? How is their attitude? What is their lifestyle? What is their buying behavior? All these things form the psychographic data. So these are the ways by which you can profile your customers. You can know your customers. So this is the example of a customer profile. So suppose they are more of females, aged between 45 and 65 years of age. They are married, they have children, and this is the income category that they fall in. Then when we talk of psychographic information, they are someone who are more concerned with health, appearance, with a healthy lifestyle. They enjoy going online in the evening. They value time with friends and family. So these are the ways in which you can collect data, and the ways in which you can profile your customers. So how you can profile them? Observe them. You can have interviews. You can ask them questions directly, and you can also analyze the web data. Web data means whatever transactions have happened in the past, you can analyze that data in terms of who were the customers that most often bought your products. What is the frequency of buying? Where do they live? All those things can be analyzed. Now, when it comes to enterprise marketing, everyone, it's very important to wow your customer. Now, wowing your customer means surprising them, going that extra mile to make your customers happy. So you must give customers exactly what they want, and sometimes go that extra mile. Very important to wow your customer is never say no to your customers. Whatever they're asking for, always try to offer some solution to them and never say no. Try to personalize your service interactions with your customers, and even the most simple or ordinary opportunity can be optimized if you thoroughly planned. And last but not the least, you must decrease the response time in getting back to your customers. So when we talk of customer service, it's very essential that you decrease your response time. And this is how you can wow your customer. And once you wow your customer, they'll always come back to you. Now, so this is what we had started with, that entrepreneurs are someone who take calculated risks. They have the ability to take risk. At the same time, every entrepreneur must learn how to manage those risks and how to learn from failures. Now, you can think of risk taking as a balancing act, right? You are moving towards your goal, but at the same time, you know that you may fail, right? So, and since you are aware of the possible failures, you know that these are the ways in which I can sort of fail. You take steps to manage those failures. Okay. And while taking those steps, you continue moving towards your goal. right? And resilience is basically your attitude towards failure, how you see failure. Because failure is not just a negative thing, it can be seen as an opportunity to improve. So resilience is basically your attitude towards failure, right? And if you bounce back after small failures, and you do not give up and continue to move forward towards your goal, that is when you are being resilient. Okay. So risk taking is very important for innovation. I have said that time and again. And when you're developing something new, entrepreneurs take many risks. I mean, their idea may not work, or someone may think of it before them, someone may come up with that idea before them. And the risk that the idea may not appeal to the customers. So these are different types of risks that any entrepreneur takes when they launch something new in the market. But in spite of these risks, they work towards achieving their goals, and there are two reasons for that. One is they see opportunities in every circumstance, in every situation, rather than risk. So rather than looking at it as risk, they look at it as an opportunity, right? And secondly, they have the ability to take calculated risks, right? And when you set out to do something different, you identify risks and you put in place some measures to address those risks. That is called risk management. Okay, so risk management is basically, so you do not stop if you find some risks are there. You face those risks, you take some measures to overcome those risks, and that is called risk management. So risk takers, who are risk takers? They are not gamblers. Gamblers take risk without any calculation. So when we talk of entrepreneurs, they are not gamblers. They take risks which are calculated. They do not leave it to luck and chance, right? So risk takers are comfortable with unfamiliar situations. They face those situations in a planned and calculated and courageous way. They get out of their comfort zone. They explore new paths, new roles, new ideologies. And this is one ability which can be cultivated and developed over time. It is not something which necessarily people are born with, but they can develop this trait. This is an example of a risk taker, Mr. Jeff Bezos, who was the founder of Amazon. Then understanding resilience. So resilience is very, very closely linked with risk taking, and it is the ability to accept that even though the change is inevitable, we can make the most out of that change, right? And the resilient people, they know how to bounce back from difficult situations. So if your idea fails, how to bounce back. Do not give up when you face such unfavorable situations. And it is also one of the traits that you can cultivate. I'll give you one example. If you are trying to give one exam, you fail, you try again, you fail again, you try again, you fail again, and you keep on trying until you pass that exam. That is called being resilient, bouncing back. Wright brothers, they kept on trying until they came up with the first prototype of the aircraft. And understanding failure. So failure is not a failure actually. It's indeed a learning experience rather than a mistake, right? So learning from failure means you should never give up. And when you face a failure, you assess the situation. You see, did I make any progress? Am I able to achieve my goals? Am I still excited about this idea? Or have I missed some other opportunities because I was chasing this idea? So you ask these questions, you assess the situation. And these are people who have learned from their failures. Mr. Sachin Bansal from Flipkart, Jack Ma from Alibaba, Drew Houston from Dropbox. These are the people who learned from their failures. They were resilient, they bounced back, they took calculated risks, and ultimately they saw success in their enterprises. So this was a brief introduction to who is an entrepreneur, what is entrepreneurship, what are the different types of entrepreneurs, how you can be an entrepreneur, what are the traits, and what is the thing that you need to probably take risks, being resilient, and wow your customers. I thought I'll conclude my session with a question. So you can just see on the slide. The question says there's a blind beggar. That blind beggar had a brother who died. Now, what relation was the blind beggar to the brother who died? And the hint is brother is not the answer. Now,
Sister,
can you think out of the box and come up with the answer? Sorry, someone
sister,
said something.
sister.
Yes, absolutely. Very good, Samanvay. So you have the ability to think out of the box and you have those entrepreneurial capabilities in you. So you just have to ask yourself this question: are you ready to be an entrepreneur? Just think within yourself. Thank you so much. I think we have a couple minutes for us for some quick questions or comments that you might have. Thank you so much once again.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi.
And it was a wonderful section.
Thank you so
Madam,
much.
madam, do you know any institution, educational institution, which provides, which helps develop our entrepreneurial skills?
Okay. Nestle, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Nestle. Nestle, where are you from?
I'm from Kerala.
Okay. Nestle, we do have a lot of organizations and institutions that are working in the field of entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship has now been introduced in schools also as a subject. And a lot of colleges, if I talk of my college, for example, the University of Delhi college that I'm teaching in, Lady Urban College, we also have a subject on entrepreneurship development. So a lot of institutions are doing that. However, if you want to take up a course on this, I'm not sure what you're currently doing, but there's one institution by the name of NIESBUD, NIESBUD. It's the National Institute for Small Enterprises, Business, Urban Development, NIESBUD, NIESBUD. You can search it on the internet, and they offer a number of courses on entrepreneurship development. And if you're interested, you can take up those courses, Nestle. I hope that answers your question.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am. How do you define success as an entrepreneur?
Very good question. Very good question. I think success is a very subjective term. There is no one definition of success. Something for me may be success, but for you, it may just be a starting point, right? So, for any entrepreneur, success uh, is different. The definition of success is different. So, for example, someone may think of success as being a billionaire. For someone, being successful might be seeing people happy, seeing a smile on people's face. So it is entirely up to you as an entrepreneur how you define success for yourself. And that is the definition of success. For me, success is, being able to reach out to you, to be able to discuss my thoughts with you, to be able to discuss my ideas with you. And even if, one person found it interesting, then I feel the session is successful. So it's a very subjective term and you have to define success for yourself. Yeah,
Thank you so much, ma'am.
yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
thank you
much.
so much. Thank you.
Ma'am,
Ma'am,
there's
we have a
one question from
Yeah.
one candidate. How to deal with money issue in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so very good question. I think money is one resource which is, very crucial when you're talking of starting an enterprise, because, you need seed money. Uh, there are a number of organizations which provide you loans for entrepreneurship if you're starting your own startup. and you are coming up with your own enterprise, there are a number of organizations who are giving loans. For example, there are loans for MSMEs, there are loans for startups, there are loans for women entrepreneurs. So different type of organizations are there. They are both government organizations as well as private organizations. Like Neesbud, I told you, Neesbud is also one of the organizations. So you have such organizations which are able to which are ready to give you loans. And then there are some venture capitalists who want to put in money for these enterprises, and you need to sell your proposal to them. And if you are able to get that idea across, then you can definitely get funding. So there are various ways, there are various options from which you can get your enterprise funded. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think it's clear.
For us young entrepreneurs, what can you advise? What can you advise on us?
Advise as in what area are you seeking advice?
In decision making and financial stability.
Okay. So I would say that, just learn from your failures. Whenever you are making any decision, any decision comes with risks, right? So whenever you're making a decision, make an informed decision. uh, Try to collect as much information as you can related to that decision that you're making. And so when you're making an informed decision, your chances of failure reduce, because you know the pros and cons of that particular decision. So always take a calculated risk, take an informed decision, and that way you will be able to bounce back from your failures very easily, because that is something you would have thought of, you would have anticipated, you would have conjectured. So take a calculated risk and make an informed decision. And don't give up on your passion. uh, Pursue your passion, and if one idea fails, that does not mean that you cannot be successful. Keep trying until you achieve success. That is one advice that I would like to give you.
Oh my God, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for the
Great, you're
advice.
most welcome. Thank you.
And ma'am, who's your role model?
My role model, there is no one role model. For different aspects, I look up to different people. Most of the times my role models are my students. And they give that energy to me to just keep working hard. So I do not stick by that idea of having any one role model in your life. I try to learn from every person I meet, and I try to learn as much as I can from everyone that I meet. So everyone in that sense is my role model, because I learn something from each one. That's my funda, that's my philosophy. I don't know if you can agree with that, or you are free to disagree with that, but that's how I work, that's how I operate. All of you are my role models.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
which is important for success, hard working or smart work? Which is best?
Okay, so that's a very tricky question. Earlier we used to say that hard work is the most important thing when you want to achieve success. Now they say that you have to be a smart worker, right? And I will say that both are correct. If you are not hardworking, if you're not giving your 100%, then definitely you'll not achieve success. There is no shortcut to success. You definitely have to work hard. At the same time, you also need to learn how to get the work done with the help of others. That's called smart working. Okay, so it's not necessary that if you can get a work done by other, you are doing it yourself. That is not smart work, that is not hard work, that is poor management. So you have to be a hard worker, Whatever you have to do, you have to give it your 100%. But if there is a other way, a more efficient way by which you can get that work done, that's called smart working. And both of these things are required for you to achieve success, Iram. Both hard work and smart work. Right?
Hello, ma'am. Can I ask a question?
Hi.
What are the factors to be considered when putting up a business? The factors to be considered, ma'am, when you put up a business.
Okay. Factors to be considered when you're starting your own enterprise, right? So there are a number of factors that you need to consider before starting your enterprise. First of all, you need to come up with an idea, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to go through that design process, the process that I explained to you, the process of design thinking. You have to go through that process, come up with the idea which solves a problem. You have to come up with a solution to a problem. Or second option can be you solve an unmet need or an unfelt need. Okay? For example, the need for toilets, in rural parts of most of the countries is, most of the times it's an unfelt need. Even though it's a need, we do not realize that it is required, right? So to meet that is also offering solution. So the first thing that you have to consider is the idea that you're coming up with. Secondly, to gather resources to implement that idea. Now, resources are not just financial resources, but there are also human resources, material resources. Where will you put up your factory? Or if it's a service, how will you provide that service? What human resources do you require? If you want to train them, how will you do those trainings? And how do you build that team so that they think on the same lines as you, and all of you are working towards the same goal? So the idea, the resources, and thirdly, how will you take that idea to your customer? Because it's very important that you communicate that idea to your customers. Even though even if your idea is excellent, you have come up with an excellent idea, but you are not able to communicate that to your customer, then that idea will fail, right? So even after coming up with a superb idea, if you cannot get it across to your customer, then that's a failure. So you have to come up with the idea, gather resources to make that idea into reality, and thirdly, take that idea to your customer. I think these are three most important things that you must consider when you're trying to come up with your own enterprise.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for spending your valuable time with us. You have got a lot of knowledge on entrepreneurship. And thank you everyone for attending this session.